Howdy.
Coach, how's it going?
It's going all right. How about yourself?
I'm fired up.
All right. There he is. Coach Walsh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing fine. Doing fine.
Glad y'all can hear me. I'm usually screwing these Zoom meetings up.
I know I get to join in some school district Zoom meetings tomorrow. Should be just a whole lot of fun.
Good luck.
Oh, thanks.
Anytime we have meetings, there's always one of us football guys that can't talk, or there's always something wrong. I've gotten pretty good at it, but
Right.
there's always one of us messing it up. I'm just glad it's not me. I'm always laughing at the guy who's doing it wrong.
Right.
All right.
So how are you
Thanks for joining us.
San Marcos, Coach?
And it's been really great. It's they've been the ISD's awesome. The leadership's great. Facilities are great. The talent's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So it's been a great 2 months so far. I'm hoping we can get this thing in and get some San Marcos football, or just San Marcos. My daughter plays volleyball, so
Oh yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, definitely. Now, how long were you at Denton Ryan?
Boy, don't you say that. Didn't Geyer.
Geyer. I'm sorry.
Hey, you say that twice. You say that twice. I'm hitting this leave meeting down here.
You want me to mute him, Coach?
Yeah, I'm fired.
Nah, so 15 years. I opened that place up in 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. I'm at Ridge Point in Fort Bend, and I wasn't on the opening roster, but I got there the second year, and our head coach just left for Belton, so I'm currently the longest serving football coach at Ridge Point High School.
There you go.
For I guess this is going into my 10th year there.
Well, you're there quick enough to. There's a lot to be learned when you open a thing from ground floor, man.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We opened with just a freshman and sophomore class, and and then my first year there, they had juniors. So, and there still were only like 500 kids in the whole building. It was great, you know.
I think the number one thing you learn is you don't want to do it again.
That's true. Yeah, you work hard. You work hard opening. Everybody works hard opening a school.
Yeah, no, it was. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
All right.
Coach Walsh, you taking care of my boy, Coach Nash, down there?
And he's been golden. He's been taking care of me.
I hear you.
Coach Riordan, you look a little different than the last time I saw you in 2015.
Well, that's the year the beard started. I tell people, they're like, that year we went 11-0 before we met y'all at NRG.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids for the year started, because I kind of had it growing a little bit. I told them I wasn't going to shave until we lost.
Oh.
And then my wife likes it, so now I got to keep it. So
There you go.
I got stuck in keeping the beard. So
Good deal. You doing all right?
yeah, we're doing good, man.
Good. How's camp going so far?
It's been a good 3 days. It really has. It's probably one of the weirdest fall camp 2 days I've had in a while, but it's been really good. The kids have, they'll adapt to whatever we get them, and they've done a good job.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing Jeff do a lot of talking, because I'm kind of sitting back watching these 1As through 4As get after it, and copy what they do good and eliminate what they do wrong.
Oh, I know. I really, yeah. I don't want to I want to ask him a lot of questions right now, but I don't want to wait. I don't want to waste it right now either, you know?
We're on here for an hour. Let's let him talk for about 45 of it.
I think that sounds like a good plan.
I was hoping I'd be the small school guy that got to hide out a little bit, but yeah, I mean,
Not happening. I'm
Yeah.
going to throw in questions.
Not when
Yeah.
you're the only one active.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. We're happy to be there. I know when UL came out with that announcement, I about fell on the ground, and then quickly realized I better find some games because I had 3 5A teams to start the season out. So
Oh man.
it was like realignment all over again.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's crazy.
So, Chris, this is the first time I've met Jeff in person, I think. We might have bumped into each other somewhere at a clinic, but I know everybody around him. So I actually got stories on Jeff, and I'm just now meeting him on Zoom.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, anything that Corey and Haley told you it can't be. He's a storyteller, so
Yeah, I don't believe me. I know that. I take everything he said with a grain of salt, but it's always entertaining.
yeah. Oh yeah, he is full of drama. That was my roommate in college. So, and I played with Marvin. So those guys, and I think Fred Norris was on your staff. Me and him, Fred, go way back because of Corey.
Yep, no doubt.
So Nash came in and worked for me at Crosby for a year. His wife didn't like that Houston area, I don't think.
Oh, shoot. And so, look, Coach O'Sullivan, how's California?
What's up, fellas? Can't beat it. Pretty nice.
Good deal. Now you're in San Diego?
Yeah. Don't come visit. It's not very nice.
The weather's just, people hate the weather there, right?
Yeah, it's actually a cold front today. Came in, it's like
It's the hoodie.
73.
And we had a cold front today, and it was 95.
Yeah.
As soon as he got on, I was like, he got a long sleeve shirt on outside. What?
I know, right?
This is my office. Front porch in the shade, little breeze, the ocean. That Pacific, fellas. That's Pacific.
Are you on the beach?
We're a couple blocks away, but we're doing all right. It's not a bad spot to be.
Oh yeah. And now we got Coach Matsumoto. How are you, Coach?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh,
So,
thanks for being here. And you're in Tacoma, right?
Yes, sir. It's about 30 minutes south of Seattle.
Yeah, real ugly part of the country, right?
Yeah, well, it's nice in the summer. That's about it.
Oh man,
Nothing like San Diego.
you get up there and see the mountain and everything. So
Yeah.
my uncle lives in Seattle. He lives, they used to live. Him and his wife, my aunt, she passed away. They used to live on Mercer Island.
Okay.
Now he lives on one of the. He lives somewhere. He lives on one of the islands, where you got to take a ferry to
Gotcha.
the city.
Yeah. No, it's nice up here. Nice day today.
Oh yeah. You play in one of my favorite stadiums. Well, not your home stadium, but Stadium High School is one of my favorite stadiums, I think, in the entire country. That's such an awesome looking stadium.
It is. It really is.
That's pretty cool.
All right, guys. Let me jump in here real quick for the people who have signed in. I'm sure everybody's a Zoom expert at this point in time. If you could just type a yes into the chat box, let us know that you can see us and hear us. Outstanding. And then the other question I had for you guys today, you heard where we're all from. I'm in Vegas. Where in the country are you guys from, or where in the world? Last couple going deep conversations that Coach Fisher and I have done, we've gone international. So San Jose is represented. Coach O'Sullivan's rival in San Diego.
Good thing we're not
Hopefully-
talking much scheme for Coach O'Sullivan then, I guess.
Oh, I'm an open book.
There you go.
All right. So we're going to give them just another minute to log in. We are recording this. Tonight we are live streaming on YouTube as well. And, you know, we'll record this and we'll get this out to everybody who needs it. All right, Manhattan, Kansas. All right, so mic check, camera check. Let's get going. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Justin Skansen. I am co-host of Going Deep with Texas High School Football Chat, and I am the Director of Marketing at Just Play Sports Solutions. Tonight we are talking about the most important topic I think we can talk about right now is how do we return to football safely during a global pandemic? You know, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, but there's just so much that we don't know. There's no playbook for us to go back to. There's no experiences for us to lean on. We're all going to be learning this together, and that's why we put together a fantastic panel tonight to not necessarily give anybody answers, but make sure we're asking the right questions. So our co-host tonight and doing all the hard work, Coach Chris Fisher. Coach, how's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks, Justin. I'm Chris Fisher. I'm the offensive line coach at Ridgepoint High School, and I'm also the founder and creator of Texas High School Football Chat on Twitter, which will be occurring right after this at 8 o'clock. And then I've also, been hosting Going Deep here with Justin and Just Play Football for the past 4 weeks, and it's definitely been a lot of fun. Learned a lot, and tonight we're going to learn a lot from a panel of great coaches. Want just give them I'm going to go through who they are, where they're from, and then give them a chance to say hello. So we have John Walsh from San Marcos High School in Texas, in San Marcos, Texas. We have Jeff Riordan from Chapel Hill High School in Tyler, Texas. And we have JT O'Sullivan at Patrick Henry High School in San Diego, California, and Masaki Matsumoto from Lincoln High School in Tacoma, Washington. We got a variety of experiences with, with the coaches in California and Washington. Their season's delayed because of the virus. And then we have Coach Walsh and myself, whose season is just slightly shifted. And then Coach Riordan is actually on his third day of camp. So coaches, start with Coach Walsh, go around, say hi. And
Yeah, I'm Coach John Walsh from San Marcos CISD, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach. I'm excited to be on here to, when I saw the West Coast guys on here, get their perspective. And I know Jeff is knee deep in camp right now, and we're 4 weeks from camp. So I'm in the phase of finalizing our protocol. So it's going to be good to hear what Jeff's got to say and what these other guys got to say as well.
Coach Riordan.
Yeah, Coach Riordan, athletic director and head football coach in Chapel Hill, Tyler, Texas, East Texas. Some call it Beast, Texas. Yeah, I'm still at the office right now because we're in the middle of our two-a-days in fall camp, and also in the middle of moving houses. So this is the best place for me to do this chat. But man, I'm excited to be on here and hear some other perspectives, like Coach Wall said. I think it's kind of neat. The Zoom thing has been pretty cool for us over the last 3 months trying to figure this thing out. But it's also brought the West Coast and Texas together for this chat. So it's pretty neat, pretty cool. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you having me, Coach Fisher.
Thank you. Coach O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I echo a lot of those same sentiments. I'm excited to get on here, hear what people are going through across the country, and see if there are some nuggets to steal. I'm not gonna lie. I'm up here to to listen as much as anything else. I'm sure most of us are in the same boat, but just trying to this football community is a special thing. The coaching community is a special thing. You get an opportunity to share there's almost a sense of responsibility to come out here and help us all kind of elevate this game and deal with this craziness as best we possibly can. And it's fun for me. You know, you preach being adaptive, you preach being flexible, and now you get to go out there, model it, live it. But, you know, you're constantly shifting all over the place. So I'm excited to see where everybody's at and see if I can grow from the conversation.
And Coach Matsumoto.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're at the beginning stage. We just found out a couple weeks ago about our delay, so you know, I'll be able to share kind of what we're thinking and what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. But yeah, like Coach O'Sullivan said, I'll be taking notes from what the Texas guys are doing, and appreciate you having me on, and I'm looking forward to learning.
Awesome. Good deal.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in here real quick. If you guys have any questions before I turn it over to the coaches, this more than any of our other chats, we want to hear from the coaches. We want to hear, you know, well actuallys, and we want to hear, did you think about this? As much as we can pool our resources and turn this into a brainstorm, I think the better it's going to be. So before we do that, though, I have a quick poll for you guys. A few questions so we know our audience. It does look like a few people are still just showing up, but real quick, what is your role? Head coaches, coordinators, position coaches, administrators. We got a couple administrators on the chat tonight, so I'm interested, coaches, to kind of hear your perspective as football coach and as athletic director. Second question we have here was the current status of your upcoming football season. Normal, in quotes, started practice or starting soon, delayed. First day practice or games had been slightly delayed. Fall season's been postponed to 2021. Sports have been canceled, which we are seeing at the D2 and D3 level today. A lot of, you know, like we've said a number of times, being present, being in the moment, things are changing quickly. And number three, has anyone on your staff or team tested positive for COVID? And if you prefer not to answer, totally understand. Tonight's poll is anonymous. We will not be recording these. And then what is the current status of your school or district? Will you be returning to campus full time, a hybrid model, or starting the school year online only? Give you guys just another few seconds to answer a few of these questions. As a few more people have jumped in. There we go. All right, closing the poll in 3, 2, 1, ending the poll. Quick share of the results. We have a majority of head coaches and some coordinators, position coaches. A majority of our group right here has been delayed to spring. So we are, that's interesting. We do have a group that's quote unquote normal and a few that have been delayed. And then we do have some people who either someone on their staff or on their team has tested positive. And it does look like very few schools represented by tonight's attendees will be returning to campus full time. It looks like a split here between the hybrid model and starting school year online. All right, so last thing for me before I hand it over to Coach Fisher, I want to echo what Coach O'Sullivan said. The football coaching community is a special one. I've been continually and repeatedly impressed with the willingness and eagerness to share in the coaching community, and where we are right now dealing with something that no other coaches have dealt with. High school football is going to go first too. They're going to set an example for basketball. They're going to set an example for the winter and spring sports. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this safely? So I'm excited. And our big objective tonight, like I said early, is not to give everybody the answers, but to make sure that we're asking the right questions. So if you guys have questions, if you guys have things you want to add, throw it in the chat. I'll be watching that. And without further ado, Coach Fisher.
All right. So tonight broke down the categories of questions into just some different things. We have, like field house and just kind of program logistics. Then we'll have like some questions regarding practice and then questions regarding the games. Okay, so we'll start off with just kind of basic program logistics and stuff. Like basically, so the first question is, what are we doing? What are the different programs doing to, just like what is the everyday expectation when the players get there? How is the locker room set up? Coaches get there. What do they have to do? And how are you managing, player contact and stuff like that when they show up and all that? Who wants to kick us off?
And I guess I'll get started since we're in the middle of it right now.
All right.
We're on the field at 7, so my coaches are here by 6 a.m. We got players that start trickling in about 6:15 a.m. I got coaches stationed in the hallways taking temperatures. I got one at the door making sure they got a mask coming in. Got coaches spread out in the locker rooms. Making sure kids are spread out, social distancing, and wearing masks. We got more hand sanitizer than you can think of, just spread out throughout the locker rooms. Just continually. I know you guys are doing it right now too. I mean, it's a beat down. Put your mask on, social distance. Wash your hands. We asked about symptoms. If you've had any symptoms, been around anybody with COVID. We had a pretty smooth summer. The only week that we missed for our summer workouts was the week that our Texas UIL shut us down or recommended that we shut down. And I think it's just a testament to my coaching staff and our kids here, wanting to have a football season and it being serious to them because a lot of them lost their spring sports. In a small school like Chapel Hill, our football players play basketball, baseball, run track, play soccer. So a lot of those kids already felt that blow of losing their season. So they're doing, taking all the guidelines and precautions as serious as possible. So, I think we're a testament that you can do it, following the rules and just being present. I can't go through the coach's office and see a coach, sitting down. There's no time to sit down right now and hang out in the coach's office. We got to be up and monitoring and doing our part to keep our kids safe. I know we're going to get into some more specifics, but just the basic temperature checks, symptom checks, making them wear a mask in the field house, and making them social distance are the things that we are sticklers on right now.
Now, Coach Reardon, you mentioned the coach's office. So when your campus returns, more full time, start bringing kids back to school and all that stuff. What do you have a plan for the coach's office, like limiting, the number of coaches in there, or? Yeah,
we have a big coach's office, so it's easy to get our coaching staff in there. Our district policy, I mean, we got magnets on the windows and stuff that, you got to have visitors got to check in. We got to take their temperature. They got to have a mask on. We have lines and stuff for them to be separated in a lot of areas. But for the most part, just anybody coming on campus has to follow the guidelines. I think the biggest one that I know we'll get into right now is going to be 50% capacity at our stadium. And our district executive committees, meeting and discussing those things. And, there's a lot to it. It's definitely, when football season and fall camp kicks off, it's morning to night and it's stressful enough, but you start adding all these other little things that you got to navigate through. Just adds to that level of stress for athletic director and head football coach.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. All right. Let's get a West Coast perspective. Let's Coach Matsumoto. How many kids are in your program?
About 100 between three teams.
And so how many
freshmen?
Okay. So how big is your locker rooms per se? So what would be your plan with your kids in your locker room?
Yeah, so we have 2 locker rooms, and usually seniors share it with the freshmen so they can kind of, mentor them. And then juniors and sophomores share one. But yeah, there's definitely no way that, that's going to be acceptable. Now, again, just for you guys who don't know, our season got pushed to late February. So, I think our first practice will be February 15th or something like that. So a lot could happen, you know, in between now and then. But if we were to start anytime soon, yeah, we would have to definitely find another place to, you know, maybe a third and a fourth location, and then make sure they're spread out a little bit more. But
And
it's hard. It's hard at this point to kind of speculate on that because we're so far away. So it's great to get Coach Jeff's perspective.
We also have a comment or suggestion here in the chat from Coach Kazar. Locker rooms, have you considered or are you considering only permitting a certain number at a time, possibly staggering the groups? So Coach, if you start practice at 7, do you have you considered, we have a 6 a.m. check-in group, a 6:15 check-in group. Is that something that you have considered or thought about?
You know, with our kids, they pretty much come in at different times anyways. You know, if you give them a window from 6:15 to 6:45 to be in the locker room, they're all coming in at different times anyways. There's really no way to, I mean, I guess there is a way, but with everything else that we're doing, you start getting short-staffed if you're bringing in 10 to get dressed, taking them to the bleachers, bringing in 10 more. We have a big locker room, you know, and being a 4A school, our numbers are comparative to Coach Matsumoto's, and we got about a little over 100 kids, but we got 3 locker rooms and they're pretty big. So getting 35, 40 kids in there is less than 50% capacity, but they're never all in there at the same time, just right before we send them out for practice. But they all have to have a mask on while they're in there, and there's enough room in there to social distance. So that's not something that, I mean, we thought about that. That was in our discussions when we got together the last couple of weeks trying to make this plan. It was definitely thought about. It was just going to be hard for us to man that.
That is going to be something that, you know, all the questions that we raised today is, can you staff it? What is the responsibility of the staff to put these kind of plans together? So thank you, Coach.
Coach Walsh, when y'all start practice, what phase will your school be in? Will they be online still, or will it be a mix?
That's a great question. So we're starting September 7th. Mm-hmm. And that's ironically where the UIL is starting our 5A, 6A season. And so we're starting 100% virtual. Kids, okay. They got to be logged on to their computers from, I think TEA says 4 hours, from 8:30 to 12:30. And then there's built in, our school district did a great job of building in tutorials throughout the day till 4:15. So we're actually going to use, we're going to do the freshman practice about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And again, I'm at a district that is, that caters to kids, and we're buses are going out, and, you know, we're doing it from 7th grade all the way through seniors, September 7th. And
you are actually busing the kids to practice then, huh?
Wow. Yeah. So, you know, we're just in a school district that some of the kids just need the busing to get there. So
sure.
Luckily we have when I got here, there's a guy named Doug Wozniak, and he's a director of school safety and transportation. So we're in the middle of a pandemic, and he's heading up a committee that we call it's a recovery team that we're dealing with all the COVID issues, but he's also in charge of transportation. So it's been real good with me to be on this committee to talk to him about, you know, how we're getting kids to school. And so, yeah, at San Marcos, our kids are going to be hitting all their TEA and all their school like they need to online. And then we're going to stagger our practices from 2 to 4 with our freshmen, and then kind of overlap them from 3:30 to 5 with our older kids. And that allows us to get our freshmen to the school, and then we can bus them back home.
Okay. So I know that, you know, over my years of coaching, every head coach wants to, you know, always has a issue with laundry, whether it's a, you know, regular year or not. So how are y'all handling laundry this year? Or have you, I don't know if you put much thought to that or not, but laundry is always a big thing in our office. So
no, it's a great question, you know, and I'm at I'm at a place where it's got a state of art. We got a state of art facility. I mean, we got locker rooms are big. And when I walked through our laundry room, when I took this job, I was just amazed on the size and the facility. So we have equipment to get it done. So we are in discussions, you know, and I think we're going to do our laundry as of right now until someone from the health department puts something out there that says we cannot do it. You know, I know we're going to clean it. You know, I can't promise every kid's going to go home. We have 240 kids signed up to play ball. That's a lot of kids that, you know, may not do their laundry. And in these times, we better be clean. So if I can control the controllables, I'm going to control it. So yeah, we're washing.
Okay. Good deal. All right. What was the next? So I know not everybody has an athletic period, but everybody's, you know, going to be working with their kids, whether they're getting them ready for the spring season or athletic period when school begins. So I'd like each coach to go through and talk about how are y'all going to implement, you know, your athletic period, virtual and in person, or, you know, like Coach Matsumoto and Coach O'Sullivan, you know, what are you doing with your athletes right now to get them ready for your later start? And we'll start with let's start with Coach O'Sullivan.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear everybody's different take across the country, man. I'm so jealous of the laundry and the facilities. Right now we got our season pushed back to start practice in the middle of December. Our students are going back virtually to learn at the end of the month, and we have not been at the facility since the middle of March. So I can't imagine, we haven't had any discussions about what our plan will be like as far as locker rooms or things like that. Technically right now in California, specifically in San Diego County, all we can do is operate as a youth day camp. So we offer small pods. We don't have access to our facility. So fortunately, we're at a mildly affluent area where we can have our parents and basically parents of the AAU team pay for the park fees. So we are in small pods in an outfield, you know, so that's what we're doing. And it's, you know, I'm sure many coaches across the country are dealing with the pod issue or the small pod issue. And really all it does is make my day 4 times longer, you know, as far as now being out there with small pods for 4 times the amount that a normal practice would take. And so that's our plan. It will get more complicated. We're doing that in the morning right now. So it will obviously be more complicated when we get back to school, when they have to be online for a certain amount of time in the morning. Obviously have coaches that have real jobs. And so we're going to try to transition to the evening, but you got to find a park with lights that isn't already occupied by soccer. And so, you know, things that I would just never think about, trying to find a field that we can practice on when we have a perfectly great stadium and facility that we just don't have access to because of our district. And adjacent districts around our district are open. And so it's frustrating from a competitive equity standpoint. But again, I'm not going to worry about things that I can't control. It's way beyond my decision making. So we're going to try to do exactly what we can do and maximize that time, because, you know, we're just trying, and when it comes to what we're doing, I'm just trying to nudge our football IQ. You know, we're not by any means near a powerhouse situation. We're just trying to elevate our football IQ so that when we get back together, when we get an opportunity to play, we give our students the best opportunity to have a great experience. And you got to, it doesn't happen by accident. You know, we can't run what we want to run, you know, just installing in double days. So we got some time here, basically an extended off season to do that. And I've got calendars in front of me right here, putting together basically the fall install. And so just trying to get creative with what that looks like is our mindset of it. But it's frustrating from a facility standpoint to have to pay for fees to use parks when our facility is sitting right there. So that's probably my biggest thing going right now.
Coach Reardon, how are you going to use your athletic period?
You know, we're going to be in school and in season. We are a hybrid district. You know, our superintendent and school board, you know, we're in East Texas. It's not as rampant here right now. We're not one of the hot spots. You know, so our school board superintendent is very stern on kids coming back and doing in-person learning. You know, they think that's the best situation for kids to learn. So our district and a lot of districts around us made the rule and implemented the rule that the kids had to have to choose in-person learning to participate in extracurriculars, because they wanted to, you know, if a kid chooses to stay home and do online learning for safety reasons, whether it be somebody in their family or whatnot. We wanted to make sure we respect that and not pull them up here to practice football or hang out at a volleyball game or play in the band or, you know, on the dance team or whatnot. So we're going to have our kids are here. Probably 98% of our athletes are choosing to be at school. Parents, I know when that first day hit, I don't know about Coach Walsh, but that first day hit in June 8th, you know, we'd been gone for 3 months and we could now work out. Every parent in East Texas brought their kid to workouts. They wanted to get them out of the house, was tired of having them at the house. So, you know, we had planned for the numbers, the max numbers we seen the year before, but we had about 80 more boys show up than we were expecting. So it was a good problem to have. We did a lot of our stuff outside of the weight room. We brought stations outside. We tried to do everything outside as much as possible and limit the interaction in the weight room. But once we get started on August 19th, we start school. We'll have a regular athletic period. We'll be in season format, and we'll use that athletic period for meeting and film and weights and special teams and just ever how it lines up on that day for our practice schedule.
Okay. Coach Walsh?
Yeah, we're going to be a little different starting out, you know, and I think there's some, we have an option after that 4 weeks to stay 4 more weeks virtual or go to where Jeff's at, you know, and be a hybrid. But, one of the positives that's come out of this pandemic, in my opinion, is just what we're doing right now, the ability to meet, you know, from our porch or from our living room. So in that 4 hour of instruction that TEA tells our kids they have to be, well, our athletic period is going to fall in there daily. So we've constructed a pretty good plan of Coach O'Sullivan was talking about his install. You know, we're going to use those as just positional meetings. You know, they have to be logged on to a certain medium on their computer to get their time in. And our time's about 40 minutes only. But, if you can get a 30-minute meeting of install or character development or what have you, we get that daily now. And I think even when life gets normal, I think these kind of meetings are so beneficial. I can just think about going home on a Sunday now with the game plan and eating supper real quick at 8 o'clock and turning on a Zoom meeting with your kids and putting the game plan in before we even go Monday morning. So we're going to utilize it as a positional meeting or just a team meeting. And then I went over our practice time. So, but I will kind of add into a previous question Jeff was talking about. You asked Jeff, because I've coached at the level Jeff is with about 100 kids in the program. And then when you get to the 240, 250, 6A level, internet locker rooms is interesting. And we have put a model together of staggering defense going in, just talking about going in, leaving practice, going in the locker room. Offense is going to be out there for 15 minutes longer, and then defense is going to go in, or vice versa. Or when they're coming to we just have to. There's so many kids. And our locker rooms are big, but when you talk about the population we have, it's hard to manage. So coming into it, we'll start off with offense in meetings and defense getting ready and vice versa. So there has to be a stagger a little bit. Now, is it going to work? It sure looks good on paper, but we are staffed good where I'm at. So I'm hoping that stagger does work for us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
Matsumoto.
Yeah, so we're behind, I think, everyone else in terms of our state and our district. But like Coach O'Sullivan, we haven't seen our kids since middle of March when we went on break, and we have never been able to return back to them. We were supposed to go back end of July, so we started meeting with them and doing installs on Zoom, stuff like that, preparing to come back onto the field with them. But then the news hit that, we were going to move our season back. So we decided August will be sort of their break because, they've been kind of anticipating that we're going to start. And then now it's pushed back, another 5-6 months. And I think, we went pretty, deep with our meetings and installs. So I just don't want to, burn them out and wear them out. So August right now, we're sending them home workouts 4 times a week that our strength coach writes up. And then twice a week, 4 to 5 kids, I take them to the homeless shelter just so that they're doing something positive and that they're able to kind of see their teammates and do something positive, you know. And we usually do that in the spring, but I thought this would be a good time right now, especially just because kids are feeling down and they're feeling pessimistic, and I want them to get perspective, you know, and you can get that at a homeless shelter, right? And then we have put together an instruction manual on Google Drive for them to start their recruiting film, you know, where they record their height, weight, wingspan, and then, you know, do some drills and, you know, and then they're supposed to post it on their Google Drive and put it on Twitter, because at this point, recruiting is going to suffer if they're not proactive with that. So we're pushing August for them to really focus on those things, and then obviously checking in on them. And then we are going to start online when we return in September. And that's going to be, again, a challenge. But we're going to have the kids meet after school. So we usually go in the morning with our off-season workouts before school. But now kids aren't going to, you know, be on Zoom at 5:30 a.m. And so we're probably going to move our football workout to after school and probably use a lot of that for like character development and stuff like that, you know, because they'll already have workouts sent to them. So we probably won't use that time for actual workouts.
I got a couple of follow-up questions that I definitely want your and Coach O'Sullivan's perspective, because if I remember what you said, Coach Matsumoto, your season starts after National Signing Day, right? So, I mean, what are you telling those guys, you know, those seniors about that you can play somewhere, but, you know, just don't have what they're looking for, or don't have those offers yet that really needed this season?
Exactly. Yeah. We only have one kid that's, you know, verbally committed to USC. And so the other kids need this season. And so again, that's why 3 weeks ago, I know it was more like a month ago, I reached out to a bunch of different college coaches, all different levels, and just asked them what I need to do and what the kids need to do. And they basically said, you know, like a home combine, right? With all those measurables. And so I told them to get that together, and then, like I said, post it and email, you know, or DM coaches with it. Make sure they have their PDF transcripts ready, you know. So really all I can do is guide them to have those things ready and to put those up. And then, you know, hopefully it's not too late. You know, at least we can maybe get 4 to 5 games in before colleges have to move on.
Mm-hmm. Coach O'Sullivan, how about yourself and your kids?
Yeah, we did something very similar to that. So we have probably one player right now that probably could commit if he wants to, and is hanging on the fence trying to figure out what's going on. We actually went out and just kind of seeing what's going on in the sector, saw a handful of people doing combines. So I reached out to a local news affiliate, asked them to come out and basically film a combine for us. So we rented a park. They had to pay $50 to get it kind of professionally timed. And then we're actually filming interview questions this Friday. They're going to interview the students. They're going to interview me, and just kind of craft something that they feel comfortable about putting out. So many of our students are already pretty Twitter savvy and, you know, huddle cut up savvy, that I think that we're just looking for something that they feel like they're moving in the right direction, because so many of them have put in significant work, and they need that opportunity to even if they, you know, aspire to go to a level that they might not ever achieve. It's that, you know, they have to tick a box here as far as an achievement, to be able to showcase the amount of work that they've put in, because so many of them have, and I want them to have those boxes to tick. And I do think it helps. You know, I've only been in this is my second year coaching, and I'm fascinated to see how some people get offers or any sort of interest just by flashing a highlight on a huddle, and then all of a sudden, you know, now they're talking to a coach. It's fascinating to me on a number of different levels. And maybe it's not like that everywhere, but it sure as hell feels like it is out here. And so I think that the kids really bought into the combine thing, and they're bugging me, when are we going to get it? When are we going to do that? And it's not my jam, but I thought it was important to provide the structure and the system to allow them to kind of showcase all the work that they put in this offseason.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know one of my offensive linemen, he recorded a similar, like, just basic little combine movements, like a little shuttle action, some footwork here, there, stuff like that, to send to some coaches he was talking to this summer. So I'm just glad that I don't have to they get to have a season for coaches to come see them down here. So that definitely is a little bit of load off. I don't know about Coach Walsh, Coach Reardon. I'm sure y'all are probably relieved not having to worry about your seniors not being seen as much, right?
But still a worry. We're not there yet. So
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
I mean, I got a handful of kids that need to get some good game film that I think are pretty dang good that can play at the next level. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that part of it for sure, because we're not there yet, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel maybe.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Reardon and those guys don't mess it up before we get there.
I tell you what, man, I'm nervous every day. I walked around on eggshells all summer, yelling at coaches, yelling at kids, trying to, make sure we were social distancing, wearing masks, in our lines for our drills spread out, and, just, worried about these seniors having a year, having a senior year was keeping me up at night for sure. Cause I can imagine, my son is fixing to be an 8th grader. Him not having his 8th grade season would have been bad enough. I couldn't imagine it for a senior. So, definitely, like Coach Wall said, I'm still nervous about it now. I mean, at any time we could be shut down if the right things aren't happening. But, I think we got a great coaching fraternity in Texas. I think our UIO organization has set and put some standards in place that are going to keep us going. I think if anybody can do it, it's staffs like Coach Walsh's and mine and a lot of football staffs across the country. I just think it's, you see, we hear it on Twitter. We see that social media stuff about AAU and little leagues and all this stuff. They're getting after it really with no protocols. You just think they're going to be a lot safer under our watch because we're going to be stern on all the rules and guidelines that we have to follow. I hope we don't mess it up, Coach Walsh.
Sir?
Oh.
I said, I hope we don't mess it up. We're trying our best, man.
I'm not worried about you, Jeff.
So question from the audience, and this is for Coach Reardon, Coach Walsh. Specifically, how much of the kids are they wearing masks? How much are they wearing masks on the field, workouts, at practice, weight room? When are the masks on? When are the masks off?
So I'll go first just because I'm still in summer camp. And at the beginning of our summer camp in June, we weren't as good as we are now. As the season gets closer, I've just preached to them that we may be playing with a net gator over your mouth, so let's work on working on it, so we're pretty dang good at it right now. If we're working, at first it was if you're just standing around listening to a drill, be covered up. When you're active, you can flip it down and go to work. Last 3 weeks, we've been keeping that thing on as good as we could, as best as we can. I still got a few. My daughter's a junior. The girls go after us. I'm always having to thump her on the forehead to keep hers back on. So there's it's still a work in progress, but we are getting better at keeping that thing on. Really, right now we're trying to go full time with it, and the colleges are starting to work out. My son coaches at Texas, so I'm getting to watch what everybody else is doing and getting pictures of helmets. And so I'm being interested to hear what Jeff says here in a minute. As far as I'm actually going to watch Wimberley. They're a 3A or 4A school right down the road. I'm gonna watch them. I let them go about 3 days, and I'm gonna go watch their 4th practice just to see what they're doing with their masking before, during, or after. Everybody's got opinions. I'm just trying to go worst case scenario where we have to have it covered up, and I want to have some 2-way players. I know Jeff probably does too. I'm concerned about them having to have it on while they're playing for, you know, however many minutes a game. But we're going to practice it right now, and we'll. But I got 4 weeks to figure out how we're going to do it, like Jeff's doing it.
You know, I know I was kind of piggyback off what Coach Wallstar said, and, you know, going back to June 8th when we got to open up and start our strength and conditioning camps, masks weren't required then. And then when we came back from the time that the week that we took off, that UIL recommended we took off, we had, you know, they implemented the mask rule. You know, when we enter, when we exit, when we're not working out, preferably in the weight room when we're spotting. And like, you know, Coach Wall said, we've gotten better at it over the summer, and now it's not like it's an option. We're wearing masks anytime we're not physically working out or competing. I know the UIL rule for us right now is we'll have to have them during games on the sideline when we're not physically coaching or on the field participating. So what I did is I ordered 150 of the Gators. They're a little lighter, a little thinner, with our logo on it. You know, my varsity is going to have blue, my JV is going to have white, my freshmen are going to have gold, and they're going to have those things at practice and in games. You know, because the new the protocol that we just received, I guess it was just a UIL update recently, Coach Walsh, is now the contact rule is going to be a little different. So, you know, if I have somebody on my team that is around somebody with COVID or has COVID, but everybody else was wearing a mask, only that person is going to have to quarantine. So the rules changed, and the mask game really changed for us. So when that came out, you know, we're going to be wearing them all the time. Just because one kid may get COVID, it's not going to shut down everybody else with the rules that we have in place right now. So we'll have those things on at all times to save our season. It's going to be a couple of days before they come in. So right now the kids are wearing their own mask. But as soon as I get those Gators, we'll be wearing them full time and pulling them up, you know, taking them down. And, you know, I think it's just something that we're going to have to get used to right now for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And even just, you know, I know just walking around, just normal life, it still takes getting used to, you know, it's just one of those things. You just get accustomed to grabbing all your things as you're going out the door, and the mask is one of them, and you got to mask up. So I know I've purchased several of the Gators for myself for practice and classroom when that picks up. So good deal. Coach O'Sullivan, you said you are working in some pods. What protocols are y'all using regarding masks?
We basically make the coaches wear them all the time. We're always outside. I would love for the students to wear them all the time. It's just not a reality right now. I've told them that they don't have to wear them when they're going full speed. Listening to this group, though, I kind of like the idea of getting them ready if that's what it takes to play, just because I hadn't really thought of it as far as the new protocol potentially changing as far as quarantining someone who does get sick. And if you don't wear a mask, and, you know, we talk about all the time practicing how we're going to play and creating the worst case situation. And, you know, I could see that being a transition to something we need to jump into. I wrote it down as something I'm stealing from this message. But right now, it's just the coaches and the, you know, to be honest with you, and I'm sure many of y'all feel the same way, but I'm less nervous about our time together outside on the practice field or in pods than I am, you know, this time of day or, you know, in the evenings. You know, those type of things are kind of what we spend our time talking about, making good decisions off the field as far as, you know, those types of things, as far as know who you're hanging around with, all those things, because, you know, there's a handful of us that take it very seriously that don't want to jeopardize the season, but then, you know, you're not necessarily, your buddy does not always have the same values and same kind of goals that you do as a program, as a player. And so that's what we're trying to make sure we're around the right people. Same thing that you would always say, now just magnified with this pandemic.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, you know, just, and I know like early in the spring and stuff, when people are in the summer, people were talking about what's happened to the fall sports and stuff, that a lot of people would say like, well, the UIL, you know, look closely at what NCAA does, you know, what, you know, even what the pros do and stuff. And we see them getting like weekly tests and stuff. Is that something that is, you know, have y'all heard any school districts talking about providing tests, you know, actual COVID tests for the kids if they do show symptoms? or or is that even a feasible thing? I can't help but think of back in the day when they tried to do the steroid testing and that didn't really go through. That was kind of a massive failure. But like, is COVID testing, is that something that's a feasible district arranged thing, or they just be sent to their doctor?
Well, Chris, it's interesting you asked that. I'm actually meeting tomorrow. I've been in talks probably for, oh man, 2 months. I just happened to have a friend that was involved in medical sales, and of course when this stuff goes out, it's everybody's got ideas, and I kind of blew it off. But it's been picked up. There's a group called Urgent Care for Kids, and they're in schools right now as far as rapid strep tests, rapid flu testing, and they're actually in Austin ISD, who's in our district, and Del Valley ISD. But they proposed to our association a way to do it on campus, and again, I thought it might have been, there's got to be a good system in place for it to work. And the more I hear about their systems, the more I'm pretty intrigued about it. So we're actually meeting tomorrow with our 26-6A, Coach Dodge and I. He's at Westlake, and we've talked extensively about it. And it's getting pretty close to being real. There's a few districts out there looking at it. And we're taking a good hard look tomorrow as a district. And there's a couple people, Kevin Pearson, that's going to come visit with us from Urgent Care on our DEC meeting and kind of put it out there. I'm not very smart. I'm good at football. I'm not good at anything else. And he made it sound pretty simple to me. So if there's a way, an efficient way for us to take a field in our district, knowing that everybody tested and gave good effort, and we don't have it, and we can go play, and we're not having to quarantine, then I'm all for it, So, is it feasible? I'm interested to hear it tomorrow. But yeah, it's a real thing moving right now, and it's moving pretty fast because time's of the essence. So if you were asking me this question a week from now, I'd have a better answer. But we're meeting tomorrow about it.
So that's what I thought would. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty awesome.
A follow-up question to anything having to do with testing. What procedures have you put in place, our Texas coaches, if there's a positive test? And then for our West Coast guys, who are you speaking to about putting your plans together? Are you in direct contact with your athletic director, principal? Is there health officials included in the conversations at this point in time? I know that Texas is ahead and going. Can we start with Coach Reardon? If you get a positive test, what's next?
Well, like I was talking earlier, I think the rules have kind of changed a little bit with that, with UIL just updating with TEA on non-mask, close contact being 15 minutes within 6 feet of somebody, actually being coughed on or sneezed on, or there's a little bit of change to the rules. I hadn't really studied them completely, but I think that those rules were put in place because if we do come back to school, and we have 1,000 kids in our school and one person gets COVID, are we shutting down everything? So I think, our school is going to be, you're going to wear a mask all day. Teachers, kids are going to wear a mask in the school building all day. And, so if somebody gets it, them wearing a mask won't shut down everybody. That kid will be quarantined after that. Now, the summer was a little different. If we had somebody that was in close contact with somebody that tested positive, we quarantined that person because, they didn't have a positive test or any symptoms. They were just in close contact with somebody. We would quarantine them for 14 days. If they had no symptoms, they came back and we didn't shut anything down. But if we had a kid in whatever group they were in, we kept them in groups so we could, contact trace anybody that got it. We would shut that group down for 14 days. And that if anybody had it, they had to have a negative test and cleared by a doctor before they came back to workouts. Now we only had 2 cases of that this summer, and it was very limited, so it didn't shut down a whole lot, just because we had those plans in place where this person was with these people all day. So if one person got it, that group would be shut down and not everybody. So it worked out good because we have 2 weight rooms. We have access to a lot of stuff, so we could really spread our girls, our high school girls, our middle school girls, our middle school boys, our high school boys. We could spread it out and limit that contact, so we didn't have to shut everybody down. We just had to shut down a certain group.
Yeah, so we're on the same model. You know, that's a good thing about Texas is we kind of all copy each other, and so we worked in groups of 10 all summer, still working in groups of 10. That way, if we did have a positive test, that group of 10 was the one we quarantined. We only had, I guess, for the 2 months we had 2 cases, and that came up on. So, but our systems work good. It's the exact system that Jeff is talking about, and just to echo what he said about the UIL rules, I think the 15-minute contact rule is really put in there because if that rule's not in there, then we couldn't even start football because there's going to be cases, and so I think that was the way we're masking, the way we're taking care of kids right now, and doing our screening before they come in. That allows us. You know, I've talked to many doctors. I got a friend that's a pediatrician. He's seeing more kids for depression and anxiety that were just as healthy as can be, more than he's seeing kids for COVID right now. So I think UIL's done a good job in Texas of trying to meet in the middle somewhere, be safe with COVID, take care of kids, let them get to doing what makes them happy. And in the end, it makes guys like me happy too.
So, Coach Matsumoto, not necessarily your plan because you're so far out. Who are you having the conversations with now about putting your plan together?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say since March, I've been directly just talking to the district AD because, you know, he has the most information and he's mostly up to date about things. And so he's been great, super supportive, you know, appreciate his communication. But yeah, so I've been talking with him for the most part. And when we were planning to come back, the kids were going to have to, you know, we were going to have to take their temperature and then ask them about 5 to 10 questions. And if they answered yes to any of them, we would have to send them home. And they would be required to get tested at that point, and they wouldn't be able to come back until they showed proof of a negative test. And so that's the direction that they were going. But again, with the season 6 months out, you know, anything could change at that point. But it was going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be stressful for sure.
All right. So we're running up on time. So, and we didn't get to the games portion so much. I mean, it's been a great time, but I do have one more question because, and you know, this is obviously an ongoing conversation that we're all going to continue to have with our staffs, with the people making decisions and stuff. So we'll keep finding out more, but hopefully this, you know, helps some people. But I always believe that in every situation you find something positive out of it, something that you're going to make you better from this. So what adjustments have y'all made, or are you planning on making that you think are going to help and really improve your team because of this current situation? And we'll start with I don't know who wants to go first, and then we'll just everybody take a turn. Start with Coach Reardon. You start us off.
Okay. You know, I think the biggest takeaway for me as a coach is, you know, I've always been kind of a caveman and a dinosaur when it comes to technology. You know, when we didn't come back from spring break, I had to learn how to do Zoom, Google Classroom, you know, social media, Twitter's about all I can do. You know, my attention span ain't long enough to do it more than 240 characters or whatever they give you anyways. So I think, you know, the technology aspect of it and implementing that, I'm going to use that stuff in the off season. You know, a lot of the character development that we set aside work time during the off season, I may do that in Google Classroom or Zoom meetings as homework. We're going to start having homework in the off season in our athletic periods with, doing some character development. I did some of that, this spring when we were out. I would send my daily workouts to that, but we'd also do, I would send a motivational video or something for them to read. Hey, give me some response on that. Give me some feedback, from the kids. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for me personally. I think for my program, it's just, we've had to, build those relationships with kids. My coaches have had to be around kids. We've had to talk to them. We've had to, it's not just come to the coach's office, kids get ready, let's go work out. We're in there with them. We try to do that every year, but it's this year has just made it even more important. And just the safety things. I think those things that, we may still implement because the flu is bad in Texas, strep is bad in Texas. I still blame a 5th round loss to Cedar Park in 2014 to the flu and strep because, I had kids gone 2 or 3 days of that week for that game because of flu and strep. I think we're going to continue a lot of the protocols, even if this does ever leave. Our trainers are doing a fantastic job with watering our kids. That was going to be a question coming into the season. And we got individual water bottles for each kid. And it's a numbering system. You got a number, you use your water bottle. We got them spread out on 3 tables on each sideline. So even when we do water breaks, it's social distancing and safe. I think, things like that, we're probably going to keep. The hand sanitizer throughout the field house, we're probably going to keep. Just little things like that are going to benefit us down the road regardless.
All right. Let's go, Coach Walsh.
Yeah, I think there's no question. Jeff's first answer is, I think our whole profession from the East Coast to the West Coast is the technology. I mean, and some guys may have been good at it already, but just to be able to hold meetings, like I said, as soon as you get home to implement that game plan before you see them is invaluable. I think, just theologically, I've been doing it for 27 years and I've cherished every year, but that old saying, you never know what you got till it's taken away. It's been, it's those guys on the West Coast, it's still taken away from them, and we're slowly getting it back. So I've always loved this profession and loved the sports, but I don't think I'll take anything for granted now, even just something little I might have, just how I walk to practice. I'm excited about even showing up to the field house. So that's important. But the biggest thing I think is for sure the technology part on the Google aspect and just the Zoom aspect and everything that's come out on that end is definitely been what I'm going to take out of it and be better for.
All right. Good deal. Coach O'Sullivan.
I don't know. To be honest with you, it's kind of tough to answer. I'm probably, at the risk of offending the football coaching world, I'm probably a less is more type of guy to begin with. We're a non-playbook organization. Everything was video install, watch it on your own kind of thing is something that I'm comfortable with. I think that the thing that I will probably take away from this, and it's ironic being on Zoom right now, but I already know that I have a terrible attention span. Like I didn't have to go through this to know that. It just reinforced it. And so for me, anything beyond 25 minutes is a struggle. And so I reinforced empathizing with our players, our students, and I'm a big believer in position meetings and installs and watching film and doing all those things. I'm very comfortable with the technology surrounding that process. I will say the one nugget that I would love to share that has been great for us is, and now access to film is so easy for many of us as far as finding good all 22. We've started watching college football, NFL all 22. And it just lights them up. It's high quality. It gives them a different perspective. It's not the same, drawing. No offense. I love a good just play solution, obviously, to be able to create the install. But it's fun to tether that to like, hey, this is what Clemson's doing. They're running the same thing. Or this is what Oklahoma has GT2. Like, let's try this. Things like that. That just anything to spark that and have it in a condensed time frame that allows for the attention span of what's going on is probably something that I'm going to take away, as an immediate turnaround.
Mm-hmm. And Coach Matsumoto.
Yeah, I will piggyback the first 2 coaches for sure in terms of me having to learn more technology stuff. And, making the huddle presentation and Google Drive, and I didn't know any of that stuff. So I had to do a Zoom with a local coach to learn all that stuff, and so it definitely challenged me and pushed me. But I think just the, working in the inner city, just the importance of being there for the kids. I haven't messaged the kids as much as I have in this 4 or 5 months break, just checking in on them, and a couple kids just saying, hey, our food's low, so can you help me out, coach? And so just being more intentional about checking in on them. We run a year-round program like most high schools do, and so you kind of take that for granted, like, oh, I see them, so that's good enough. But now I really need to reach out to them, just because a lot of them are, struggling, and a lot of them need the structure. So just, again, being more intentional and asking those tough questions, because they're teenage males. They're going to put up a wall at first, but, if you really ask deep questions and the right questions, they'll open up and say, hey, I need your help. And you want that transparency. So that's what I've been trying to really do the last few months.
Awesome. Yeah, like everybody said, the technology. I think one of the great things, just as a state in Texas, with the UIL allowing teams to broadcast their games Friday nights for those fans who can't see. I mean, to me, that's probably going to happen, through a website. That's going to expose so many more people to Texas high school football and the good things that coaches are doing with kids. And I think that is a great benefit. I think that is a way that we can show all, our value and, to the nation and even to the world. I think that's something that we can all, be happy for, so good deal.
So, first of all, thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to jump in here real quick and talk a little bit about the technology, because with Just Play, Coach Reardon, by this time next year, might be able to do his character development in a Just Play install remotely. Just Play is a remote coaching and learning system. We aren't just playbooks, but our team systems. You can match video with diagrams, and your kids can get it on their phones. You can assign which installs go to which group. You can do an offensive install, send it to your offensive guys. You can do a defensive install, send it to your defensive guys. Pair it with video, like Coach O'Sullivan was talking about. So Just Play, we have the full team systems. We have the My Just Play through, there's a special from Texas High School Football Chat. My Just Play is the personal playbook portion of that, but our team systems are a lot more than just a playbook. Being able to, what we're all kind of seeing is, how are we going to be able to connect with our kids if we're not together in the locker room, if we're not together in the film room? How are we going to connect with our kids? And that's one of the things that Just Play is designed to do. So I got that in there. I'm going to hit stop on the recording. I'm going to send this recording to everybody who registered. Thank you to everyone who showed up tonight. Thank you for the questions. Coaches, thank you so much for taking your time and sharing with us. I can't imagine a more important conversation to be having right now. And I appreciate your time. And I hope that we continue to share, we continue to figure out the best ways to handle this current situation. And that's all stay in touch. That's all keep growing and hopefully get through this together.
Thanks for having us.
Good luck.
Yes,
Thank
good
you.
luck.
All right, guys, I'm going to shut it down. If you aren't already, make sure you follow Texas High School Football Chat on Twitter. The Twitter chat has begun. Jump in there and let's continue the conversation. Let's stay engaged and beat this thing. Thank you very much, guys. Shutting it down.